All right, it's 12:06 a.m. in the morning. I apologize. I really need to stop doing that. I've been saying that for the last several videos. So I just wanted to sit there and think about yesterday's game between Houston Texans versus the Carolina Panthers game before I turn on the microphone and talk to you people out there, especially for you Carolina Panther fans out there. Before that, they had a bye week. Before that, they had a game down in South Florida against the Miami Dolphins, and we all know what happened. 42-21, the final score. Miami Dolphins boat raced the Carolina Panthers. Let me tell you why they boat raced them. The roster, the speed, the coaching, all of that matters, okay? Once they decide to stop screwing around against the Carolina Panthers, and not to mention they were down 14-0 in the first quarter, they looked around, looked at each other, and looked at the scoreboard like, okay, let's just put on our gear. Let's put on our Nike shoes and just go to work. And that's exactly what happened. So I think they had a bunch of hits on Bryce Young. I know they had at least about 4 or 5 sacks or something. I felt like it was more than that. So in the offense, they did their thing. This is what Miami Dolphins do. They boat race. They run circles around bad teams. But against good teams, Buffalo and another team, I'm losing track of thought. I apologize. Midnight hours. And it's not looking good. Oh, yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles. It don't look good. Miami Dolphins going to have to find a way to go out and beat a couple of good teams. So the Carolina Panthers, they got a lot of work to do. Now, let's move on from the Miami Dolphins game, shall we? Yesterday's game, the Houston Texans game. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and Carolina Panther fans? Our team got their first win of 2023 season. And you know what? I feel good about that for now. Let me tell you why they won the game. The defense did their job. The offense did enough. Now, I'm going to start off a little bit of negative, and here's why. The special teams got hit with the penalty. I'm talking about Carolina Panthers that pushed the offense back into their own end zone. That's how they started the game. I mean, it could have been worse if Carolina Panthers turned the ball over, either a pick six or a fumble or whatnot, but it didn't happen. And the offensive line, they really need to find a way to protect Bryce Young. I mean, I've counted at least 5 sacks they allowed. I know people can say, well, Bryce Young holding on the ball too long. I wish he would just throw the ball out of bounds instead of just taking those hits. Ike Ekwonu, man, what happened? This is a true definition of a sophomore slump. I mean, my goodness, it is just bad for him right now. Anyway, the defense. Before I move on to the defense, the running game, it don't look good. I mean, I think they had 44 rushing yards, and I think Miles Sanders had 2 carries of 0 yards. I saw some stat of that, and I'm like, wait, really? Okay. I mean, Carolina did pay him all that money, and that's the result. I feel like they should use Chuba Hubbard and Raheem Blackshear and just keep it moving, like a combination, because I feel like they work pretty good. So, hey, the best news of all, let alone the biggest positive, they had far less wide receiver screens. That's something, right? The defense, well, they were up and down. They got after CJ Stroud, frustrated him a little bit, but the tackling, boy, man, I've lost count of how many missed tackles. I mean, just straight up whiffed. If it ain't that, they being put in the spin cycle. If it ain't that, it's the looseness. It was just crazy. I'm just looking at the Panthers defense. I'm like, bruh, what are y'all doing? Stop tackling high. Go low. I mean, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all crazy? Wow. I mean, sheesh. They're going to have to clean up. I mean, they got the Indianapolis Colts next. So, speaking of AFC South opponents, I mean, the Houston Texans, I mean, the Texans fans, I mean, it was a hard-fought battle, but your team lost for a couple of reasons. Didn't score enough points, and last but not least, double-digit penalties. Y'all had 10. Your team had 10. You can't have that. You cannot have that and think that you're going to, win games. Good teams overcome bad things. Bad teams don't. So CJ Stroud and the rest of the Houston Texans, they will learn from that game and keep it moving, see what happens to them. So good luck to your fans out there. And yes, the Carolina Panthers will host the Indianapolis Colts, and they have a winning record all time against the Indianapolis Colts. I saw it at official website of the Carolina Panthers. What they're going to have to do is not allow Gardner Minshew to go off. They do, and then that offense for the Colts, they will score points. Go ask the New Orleans Saints and the Cleveland Browns. As for the defense, that's for the defense, and as for the Carolina Panthers offense versus the Colts defense, just continue to protect Bryce Young. Let Bryce Young do his thing. The wide receivers, hey, if Bryce Young throws you the football, you got to catch it. That was another thing I forgot to mention in yesterday's game at home against the Texans. It was just awful. I've counted at least about 5-6 drops. I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to bed. What's your thoughts on those games in the upcoming game? Salute. Good night.